Hey there and welcome back to Mass Effect. My name is Pete and today we complete the Hades Docks assignment. Last episode we took the fight to Cerberus and cleared out 3 of their research bases, but we also sadly discovered that Cerberus has killed Admiral Kahoku. So today we're not only looking to avenge his death, but also to deal the final killing blow on Cerberus itself, and for that we need to travel to the Columbia system in the Voyager cluster. Inside we can do a bit of surveying, although the system doesn't hold too much of interest, where you can first find some samarium, and then also a Silurian League of 1 medallion. That's all there is. Let us now proceed to land on the planet Nepheron. Just like last time, we're taking Rax and Garrus with us, but any other squad combination should be fine as well. Just keep in mind, if you want to explore the planet to its fullest, then you need someone with both advanced electronics and master sabotage. That, however, should then open you every single lock you encounter. Now, after landing on the surface, we can begin by steering the Mako in the exact same direction that we landed in. Our first goal lies just behind this mountain range here. Here we can find a thorium deposit. We can quickly survey that for some cash and XP, and then hop back into the Mako and mark our next destination. Now this next drive is a bit longer, about 1 minute in real time, but it gives us a small moment to go over the assignment that we have on our hands. For whatever reason, we have learned the location of Cerberus' main base of operation by finding the dead Admiral Kahoku. How that fits together and how that information actually got to us is still a bit of a mystery to me. One thing is for sure, I think, and that is Admiral Kahoku was definitely not in a position to tell us. That just as a bit of background on why we're here now. With that covered, we have also made it to our second point of interest, which is a platinum deposit. Once again, surveying gives us experience points and credits, and after going back inside the Mako, we can mark the third and last mineral deposit on the map. But let's quickly go back to this facility that we're about to attack. I find it somewhat strange and also a bit of an oversight that there is really no way that Shepard could have realistically gotten this location data. We have received no transmission from Kahoku with the location, we have not found any sort of data pad on his body, and to be honest I don't think that Cerberus would have him just lying around with that information on his body. So it remains a bit of a mystery how things actually develop between the last mission and this one. For the sake of the storyline, let's just assume that there was some sort of communication that allowed us to learn the location of this base.
I'm on my way.
Our third and last mineral deposit over here has some beryllium for us. And with that surveyed, we can now mark some debris on the minimap. By the way, this is what you'll need the advanced electronics skill for. And as we drive over there, you can also see that Nepheron is not exactly one of the most enjoyable planets to navigate. What was named debris on the map turns out to be a crashed probe, and salvaging gives us 2 armor upgrades, but nothing so extraordinary that we need to equip it right now. The logical choice for our next destination is then the underground facility that holds the Cerberus main base of operations, and with it marked as an underground facility we can already expect a fairly familiar fighting scenario. A bit unfamiliar might be this little welcoming party on the outside of the base. In the last episode the Cerberus bases were guarded mainly by turrets, but right here security seems to be a bit heavier. By the way, the anti-tank units here can withstand a blow from the Mako's main cannon, that is at least on insanity difficulty, so that is a nice way to get them down to low health without risking a premature kill. Next to the anti-tank units, we also have 2 Cerberus snipers against us. Those are a bit more fragile and should therefore not be handled with the main cannon. All in all, for this fight it's a very good idea to keep moving. Both the anti-tanks and the snipers are very powerful offensively, and even with 2 heavily armored guys like Rax and Shepard in the squad, they can take us down quite easily. The main cannon blast that we used in the first anti-tank unit has catapulted him off quite a bit here, but that neatly separated him from the rest of the group, and we can now begin to work directly on his already decimated health bar. And that's it, that's the outside of the base already cleared. For some reason I now decided it was a good idea to go back inside of the Mako, then I realized it was already parked where it needed to be, so after a bit of dancing around we can now head inside. Once again, the already very familiar layout awaits us. On the left over here we have a technician kit inside an Omni tool and a weapon upgrade, and that's all there is to do in this first room. The enemies are as usual in the main area, so that is where we will head next. Now, especially on Insanity, this fight can be a bit of a nail-biter. First of all, we have against us 3 Cerberus snipers, so a lot of long-range firepower, backed up by 5 Cerberus Commandos, so heavy infantry that is quite tough to take down, especially once they use their immunity ability. I personally found that luring single enemies out of this main area is an unreliable strategy at best. The snipers just simply can't be bothered, and the commandos also tend to hold their positions. That means, whether we want it or not, it's our task to engage here. A good approach is to stay relatively safe and in cover inside of the doorway here. This might allow you to pick off the first half of enemies without really having to worry about the other. Keep in mind that you don't want to get yourself too exposed, and as soon as the opposing snipers activate their assassination ability, it's a good idea to retreat for a second. Now, with that last kill, we have just taken down 3 of the 5 commandos. That, however, still leaves 2 and a nest of snipers for us to find. Those snipers tend to hold up on the left side of the room here, and you should be very careful with leaving your cover here. That could mean instant death faster than you expect. A good tactic here is to simply stir the pot, make the snipers leave the cover and move around for a bit. Chances are at least one of them gets split off from the main group, prime example right here, and that one can then easily be taken care of. That leaves us now still with a handful of enemies left, but for some reason the snipers here are very keen on getting close. That is where they are hopelessly outmatched, and a throw and sabotage combination helps us drive that point home. The second sniper here barely gets out alive, as we can quickly replenish our shields and then open fire again. A warp overload combination is then enough to quickly take down both snipers in the back. That leaves us, however, with one more enemy, another sniper for some reason, so the sniper-commando ratio might have been a bit off in my case. Be that as it may, for us this single sniper is nothing to worry about. And with the sniper down, we have cleared the Cerberus main base. There was not a huge boss fight feeling to it, and even though the fight was much harder, the entire mission didn't take nearly as long as the last one. Now comes the fun part, and that is looting the place. There is no loot in the main area, that is what the back is for. We start things off with an upgrade kit containing 2 ammo upgrades, and then we can proceed to the medical station over on the right here. That gives us 2 Phoenix light armors, and right behind it, and therefore a bit easy to miss, is also a medical kit. The main attraction, however, are these 4 storage lockers in the opposite corner. All 4 of those can be looted, and they hold some nice stuff. My personal highlights were the Sokolov 8 shotgun from the 3rd locker, as well as the Naginata 9 sniper rifle in locker number 4. Now, with this room thoroughly searched, we can move over to the other one. Here we have an aid station immediately to the left behind the door. And then the terminal over here will end the assignment. We are informed here that we managed to secure a few Cerberus files before the system completely wiped itself, and well, those files might come in handy later. For now, we have earned ourselves a level up to level 48, so let's take care of that next. With Shepard, we will unsurprisingly continue in the sniper rifle skill, while with Rex in the last episode we started to put points in barrier, and I think we will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. With Garrus we decided to improve his damping ability, and just like with Rex we will continue to do so for the next few episodes. And that's it, that is the Cerberus main base cleared out now, the Hades docks assignment completed, and Cerberus hopefully more or less wiped out. I can't imagine them doing anything large scale after this crushing defeat. Back outside, we still have a few things left to do before we can turn our back on Nepheron, and the first thing is actually rather close by in the form of a mummified Solarian. Unsurprisingly, searching his body gives us a Silurian League of 1 medallion, and that means we can now go back into the Mako and continue in this direction. And as we're able to look down here, you might already guess what's coming next. Over to the right of this large flat area we have a shack that we're going to loot in just a minute. However, until then, somebody else has other plans. Another Thresher Maw engages, and there is really not much more to say about those. For this fight we want to get a good position on one of these small elevated patches here. Those are areas where the Thresher Maw cannot break out of the ground below us, so we will only have to deal with its acid spit. That, however, has shield-penetrating capabilities, so despite its rather slow-moving projectile, it's something to pay attention to. Apart from that, just rocking back and forth to evade projectiles and keeping 2 fingers on the trigger is enough to wear the Thresher Maw down, so let me quickly fast things forward until we have it at low health. Alright, I think we are where we need to be health-wise. Let's step outside of the Mako and get the kill on foot for maximum XP. And wonderful, that is the last enemy on Nepheron defeated, and we can now drive over to the small shack for some more looting. Inside we can find an upgrade kit with a grenade and an ammo upgrade. Over in the corner are 2 medical kits that we don't really need, but we'll loot them anyway. And then we have a crate here locked behind hard decryption, so it's a good thing we brought someone who can unlock this, because this now allows us to get our hands on 2 sniper rifles and the human light armor. And with that, I'd say we're done. Let's return to the Normandy. Okay, welcome back. One last thing to wrap up this assignment. Let's activate the galaxy map.
Transmission coming in, Commander. I think you're going to want to hear this one.
Greetings, Commander Shepard. I represent a party interested in obtaining information on Cerberus activities.
And would you care to specify your role a bit more in detail?
Who are you and who do you represent?
Who I am is inconsequential. Suffice to say, I am an agent for the Shadow Broker. You see, Admiral Kahoku contacted my employer looking for information on the location of any Cerberus facilities. We provided that information on the promise that he would turn over copies of all files gathered from the Cerberus systems to us.
And just to be sure, Kahoku was not some sort of loose link for you, right?
Did you have anything to do with Admiral Kahoku ending up dead?
We had no reason to harm him. He was going to provide us with information about Cerberus. Information that is now in your possession.
And you're sure there is nothing that ties you to Cerberus in any way?
You must have some connection to Cerberus. How else could you tell Kahoku where to find them?
Information is our business, Commander. Through our contacts, we were able to determine that the Cerberus group was active in the Voyager cluster. Unfortunately, that was all we were able to find out. That is why we are so interested in acquiring copies of the files from you.
I assume you're able to represent that interest in some form of compensation?
Your deal died with Kahoku. Why should I help you?
The Alliance is just going to file this information away in some archive. No secret stays hidden forever. Eventually, someone somewhere will deliver it into our hands. Might as well be you. Transmit the files to us and you will be well compensated.
One last thing before we make that decision, do you care to tell us what's going to happen with these files?
What are you going to do with this information?
Information is a commodity. It can be bought, sold, or traded. Why my employer desires this information is not my concern. I am only the buyer.
Alright, decision time. Now if we don't hand over the files, we would get Paragon points. If we do transfer them in exchange for money, we get some Renegade points. Now, despite my rather big need for more Renegade points, I'm also a huge fan of that option, simply because it just seems right to pay Kahoku's debt with the Shadow Broker, but also because the Shadow Broker, or at least his agent Barlavon, helped us out against Saren back on the Citadel. Back then, we also learned that the Shadow Broker never takes sides in conflicts, and on top of that, I really don't know what we could use the Cerberus information for, so let's agree to the deal.
I'll transmit the files.
I knew you were a reasonable man, Commander. My employer will remember this the next time you need something from us.
And if we now exit the galaxy map, then we can see right here we earned 9 Renegade points and roughly 100,000 credits for our decision. And with that, I'd say we're through for today's episode. There are a few Cerberus leftovers still scattered around the galaxy, and we will take care of one of those in the next episode. Until then, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.